Alright, you it's Shawn C, and we're back in here with another video. And if you read the title, you already know what this is about. Disclaimer, this is opinionated, and just because they are on this disappointing list, that does not make them bad album. That just means I had a level of expectation for it to be one way, and it turned out a different way. And that's my bad, and it's their bad at the same time. A lot of the time, when I'm listening to a project, I expect nothing, but some of the time, based on an artist's previous work, I expect the world. So when I'm let down, it hurts me deep in my feel. But now that I have a channel to express such disappointment, I need you guys to know that there are some albums that I really don't like, but that doesn't mean they're bad. They're just albums that left a really sour taste in my mouth. I'm not saying pause. And I need to know if you guys feel the same way. I'm not trying to have an argument here. I just really want to know. You don't know what I'm about to say, do you? You don't know what I'm about to say. Don't look in the description for the answers. You don't know what I'm about to say. Listen to me. Look up. Look up. I did my most impressive albums of the year so far. It's 2017, so I thought I'd do the albums that I was most disappointed by at the same time. The ones that really didn't make the cut, or the ones that just... man, like, I had hope for this guy based on other people's expectation, based on what other people told me, and I was let down severely. So the first person on this list, unfortunately, is the person that I've used to stand this person. Drake. More Life. I am publicly revising my score from Drake's More Life from an 8 to a 6. It's no shade, but I was trying to come up with a number on the spot back then when I reviewed the album, and I couldn't think of anything. I don't know why 8 was the first number to come out of my mouth. Now, it being downgraded to a 6 does not make it a bad album or a playlist, but let me tell you why I was disappointed in this thing, and I know a lot of you probably already know, but I'm gonna tell the people who don't already know, the ones that are gonna assume I'm a hater just because I didn't love the album. Drake's More Life playlist was a highly anticipated project from a lot of people following his Views release, and Views was an album that a lot of people hated. They thought it was weak in comparison to If You're Reading This Is Too Late, which in my opinion I think it was. If You're Reading This Is Too Late was probably one of Drake's most aggressive rap albums, and I thought that albums like Nothing Was the Same and, you know, previous albums before that kind of showed Drake's skill, or kind of showed what he was able to do, showed his gimmicks, and showed that he actually had something to offer the world of rap. Not just rap, but kind of a combination of rap and R&B. He made it cool to sing on a rap track, so for us it was like, this is a new guy who's got something new to bring to the table, and I kind of want to hear what else he has to bring. So following the Views release, I wasn't really that disappointed. I was like, okay, Views wasn't the best album I've ever heard. I definitely would have liked something more aggressive, a little bit more gritty. Knowing that Drake was making that album as a reference to his Toronto home life, I was like, this should be really aggressive, but it just wasn't. Not to say that Drake needs to be this aggressive, in your face, I'm gonna kill all you rappers type of guy, but I just feel like if you're gonna say you're at the top, the top dog always has a growl in him at least. So fast forward, and we got More Life, the playlist that a lot of people love and a lot of people hate. A combination of Afrobeat, Caribbean island music, dancehall, rap, just the whole nine, pop music, just all of it in one album. And I know it's supposed to be a playlist. That's my problem with this project. It's not the fact that I just don't like some of the songs, which I don't. It's more or less the way it was released to try to kind of make people believe that some of the tracks being lackluster on this project, it's okay because it's just a playlist. When it's a 22 track, who releases a 22 track playlist? An almost hour-and-a-half playlist. Really? And the amount of songs on here that I didn't mess with in comparison to the ones that I actually did was insane, and I never thought I'd feel that way about a Drake project. I thought at the very least, if I can get away with this thing with 10 songs or more that I could enjoy, it was a successful attempt by the Canadian rapper. I thought a lot of the tracks were lackluster. Some of the dancehall tracks on here were just so forced. A lot of the rapping on here was pretty soft. I love the fact that Drake included so many other cultures on this project and wanted everyone to feel like they could have a track that they could have solely to themselves, but in my opinion, I don't feel like it belonged on this type of playlist. If you wanted to make people feel like they were a part of your artistry, release a bunch of separate tracks or make a mixtape or something, but just don't release it as a playlist and compile it in a bunch of different sounding music, because you get a bunch of different Drakes. You get the Jamaican, you get the UK slang Drake, you get the hardcore rapper Drake, you get the soft Drake that's rapping about things he really shouldn't be rapping about, like kind of making it seem like Serena Williams is in the wrong for not inviting him to her wedding. I'm assuming reference referencing issues with J-Lo by using one of her samples in the song Teenage Fever. He's got a line in here on one of the tracks called, I wanna know why we can't just have sex and then be friends. I had a problem with this line, not because I can't believe he said it, but it's like, dude, you're in your 30s almost. Like, you should know why you can't sleep with a girl and just be friends right after. It never works. Why is the guy who is at this age asking this question still? I asked myself that when I was 15. I don't hope to be asking myself that when I'm 30. And the thing that annoys me most about this project isn't even the project itself, because I can appreciate again where Drake was trying to go with it, releasing it as a playlist, releasing it as something that a lot of people could enjoy, and being a marketing genius at the same time, because everybody's gonna like a track on here at the very least. It's people's defense for the song Passion Fruit. I hate people's defense for this thing because the #1 defense that a lot of guys predominantly have for this thing is, oh man, if your girl liked the song, you're gonna like it too. You're gonna play it, aren't you? That is the worst argument you could ever use to defend this song. That's like saying, oh, if your girl likes to go shopping, that means you like shopping. No, you do it because your girl wants to do it, not because you enjoy it. You mean to tell me that if I'm listening to Passion Fruit and my girl is next to me, I'm listening to it because I like it too? No, I might hate the song, but if she likes it, guess what we're playing? Passion Fruit. Oh, you listen to your girl's bullshit? That must mean you love listening to bullshit. Serious question for all you white knights out there. Let me ask you this. If your girl asks you to put on a dildo because you don't have enough girth and or length to please her, I know a lot of you got that problem. Don't look at this way. Don't look at this side, okay? I know I'm a YouTube reviewer, but I know what I'm working with. Would you put on the dildo? No. I would hope not. Could I try to logically reason with you at that point? No. You'd be like, yo, get that dumb logic out of my face. That doesn't make any sense. And I would completely agree with you. I don't know how we got from talking about Drake to talking about dildos, but that's just how YouTube works. I talk for long enough, it ends up getting into something weird. But that's just my opinion on the playlist. I just thought it was disappointing. I don't like people's defense for it, and none of it's strong enough in my opinion, but that doesn't mean it's bad. If you love it, keep listening to it. The next album I was kind of disappointed by, well, some slight disappointment was Russ's There's Really a Wolf. And I expressed my extreme distaste for this album because it was just so repetitive. It all reinforced the exact same message in my opinion. I know a lot of people love this thing, and you're free to love the album. Do not get me wrong. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you can find pleasure out of it, because I can't. I've listened to this thing about 7 times, even listened to it more times and given it more chances after I did my review for it, and I've come away with nothing extra. The album is too repetitive. And people's main defense for this thing is because Russ did it all on his own, that makes it good. No, no, no. No, it doesn't. That means that Russ could have actually used somebody else's help. I would have preferred if Russ had more producers. I would have preferred if Russ had features on this thing. I would have preferred if he had different people on this thing helping him out. Because what I got was nothing but Russ. And if you're not a fan of some of the beats or some of the production on this thing, I couldn't even grab my finger. Guess what? You're SOL, because Russ is the only thing you have to listen to. Me coming at him as a rapper, I'm not really, because I think he has a decent flow. I just feel like it's the same song for like 20 tracks, and it just doesn't need to be that length. Was it 17 or was it 20? I feel like it took me 2 hours to finish it each listen. Look, doing it on your own doesn't mean it's better. It just means you have no one else to blame if it comes out shitty. Oh yeah! Basically, Russ doing it all on his own, that doesn't make it any better because it all comes from him. It just means that he did it all on his own, and maybe he could have used help from other people. The only reason I was disappointed with this thing isn't even because I thought Russ was just a bad artist. It was the hype for this thing. The amount of people that DM'd me and messaged me about this album were crazy, so I'm thinking this must be the best album of the year. And I listened to it and it's just like, bro, what is this? I don't want to talk about his personality or his attitude because that's another thing that people come right to his defense for. Oh, bro, it's okay. He's not cocky. He's just confident. There's a fine line between being confident and being cocky. Comments like this don't come out of a confident person's mouth.
You got to link up with 8 other artists to sell out a venue. I sold out by myself. Stop acting like you're popping. You're not. All y'all got to retire. That's pathetic.
But I digress. You know I love you, but I gotta put you on this list, and I was expecting nothing from your album, but Lil Yachty's Teenage Emotions, the album that currently has the worst ranking on my entire channel so far. I tried to find the good in this album, and the thing about it is, I know a lot of people are looking at me like, what did you expect from this thing? Nothing! That's the thing, I didn't expect a thing from this album, and I was still disappointed. I wanted to enjoy this. I wanted to feel it out from the people who are fans of him, from their perspective. I wanted to really give this thing a chance and hear what the hype is behind Lil Yachty and understand that he isn't an artist that's hardcore. He's not trying to be the best. He's just making music that makes him feel good. I enjoy that. I like that he's making music that makes others feel good or other people that can identify with it. But I listened to this thing and I was horrified. Never in my life did I think that I would listen to an album and be looking for bars to cringe at. At no point in this album did I say, wow, Lil Yachty murdered that. There were points in the album where I'm like, oh, maybe he can do it. Maybe I got a little, oh, no, landslide. The beats on this thing were amazing. Production was beautiful, but it was wasted on an artist who had absolutely nothing to bring to the table. Lyrically, flow-wise, his voice is way too cartoony for me to take seriously, especially when he's rapping about having sex with all these girls when just 1 year ago he just admitted to losing his virginity. How many girls could you really be with? Like, the dude who was arguing over an Instagram model against Soulja Boy, I don't really want you to be talking about how many girls are screwing. I like the one Island track he had on here about loving yourself, and I think it was a track more so that geared toward depression. That was the only track on here that I thought was in some way motivational or moved me or made me feel the happiness from Lil Yachty. His album cover deceived me even more because I thought with all these different groups of people being on the cover, he was going to at least rap from at least some of those perspectives, or maybe he was going to give a bird's eye point of view from their point of view, or maybe he was going to include an artist who was going through something similar to what one of them may have been going through. But no, the excuse for putting these people on the cover is to say, oh, I'm an outcast, so let me put other societal outcasts on my album cover too, but not discuss them in my actual album. And then to say that this is teenage emotions when really this is just the mind of Lil Yachty. I don't know. I don't need this, bro. I don't need it. There are too many projects that I was terribly disappointed by, so I'm gonna stop at this last one, which unfortunately happens to be Logic's Everybody album. And do not get me wrong, I love the fact that Logic is probably the best rapper out of this list of people that I'm saying I'm disappointed by, which I feel like I have a right to be disappointed in Logic for the performance that he gave on his most recent album, even though I know a lot of people loved it, myself included, for certain purposes and for certain tracks. I just felt like Logic had so much more to give, and he stopped right when he could have kept giving. I feel like the change in the album title was very abrupt, and it felt like it was rushed at the last second, so that we ended up getting songs that covered majority of what the previous album title was, which was Africarian instead of Everybody. This is mainly a black and white album where Logic kind of jumps in between rapping from the perspective of someone who's suicidal or has anxiety issues on certain tracks, but for the most part, it focuses on black and white, and it focuses on Logic's identity crisis, not knowing what side of the spectrum to be on. Should I be with my white side? Should I be with my black side? I feel like my white side ridicules my black side, but my black side doesn't accept that I'm black, and I don't get any comfort out of being biracial from my white side. So I understand the struggle and the conflict, but I was disappointed with this thing because it barely scratched the surface of what biracial people really go through. And Logic identifying so much more with the black side of himself, I felt like could have tackled issues that kind of encompassed more of what the black mind actually goes through, instead of just saying, oh, people are racist against me sometimes. They call me the N-word, they said this, they said that, but you don't actually get into the feelings, like the mind, the mental state of a black person through Logic, and you definitely don't get any kind of white perspective from Logic because he spends so much time idolizing his black side, which I don't mind, but this is supposed to be an album about everybody, and you're mainly only praising black people. That doesn't mean I want you to praise white people at the same time. I just want you to discuss struggles that every group of people has to go through. Otherwise, I don't need you to call your album Everybody. That being said, I still enjoyed a good amount of tracks on here. I was just disappointed with the overall outcome of the album and the fact that it didn't really stick to its own message deep enough for the skits with Neil deGrasse Tyson to have any real impact, considering Neil deGrasse Tyson is an avid believer of science and he believes mainly the scientific fact in everything. I wouldn't necessarily peg him as the voice of God. Not saying you can't be a scientist and believe in religion at the same time, they just have a lot of conflicts. So Neil deGrasse being the guy to do that perspective was a little weird. Again, not to say that this album is bad in any way, but I definitely was disappointed with where I felt the subject matter was gonna go, especially knowing that Logic is an artist who's triggered me in very positive ways in the past. I used to stan him as well. But that's gonna be my list of albums that I was most disappointed by in 2017. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Let me know in the comment section down below if there was an album or a project or a mixtape or even just a song that severely disappointed you this year so far. We're only halfway in, so I expect more disappointments, but I expect more high points too. It's been Shawn C. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a big thumbs up if you did. I'll see you in the next one. Again, no hate, no shade to any of these artists. I hope they all have successful careers in the future and going forward. But yeah, their albums, they didn't do that much for me. Or some of them just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Love them all though. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. It's been your boy, and I'm out. Peace.